the form back that he's had the last 2 years anyway, I'd have him in that squad behind the two Tommies as the first picks.
Mm-hmm.
Hull Kingston Rovers hooker Jez Litton, in news that will give great joy to Tim G, has signed a new deal to remain with the Super League club for a further 4 years. The 23-year-old joined Rovers from Cross City rivals Hull FC in 2019 on loan, which turned permanent for 2020, and now he's going to be there until, well, 2025 potentially. So Tom Andrews got in touch. He said, super re-signing on a long-term deal too, consistently improving in defence and a real threat going forward. They were all right, these hookers that the Dullers let go.
Well, I think you disagree with Tim on that one, Tom.
Yeah, I would say even if he is consistently improving in defence, it's a low bar to consistently improve from, and I think it's an area of his game where there's some way yet to go. I do think Tim's criticism of him is a little over the top, but I know Tim's never really rated him, even back when he was at you guys, and me and you did rate him, and as a youngster coming through and thought there's potential here if Lee Radford gave it a chance. And he does do some good things, doesn't he? Whether he's the cornerstone pillar kind of player to build a team around that Tony Smith seems to be suggesting, I'm not so sure, but he's gone well so far this year in a poor side.
I mean, I do think defensively he's okay. I think he's a bit telegraphed going forward. And yeah, I'm not sure that I'd want him as my first choice hooker.
No, he's certainly, with him and Parcell, you've got two very much of the same type hookers that would work well under Tony Smith, so are working well under Tony Smith. I kind of get what you're saying about him in attack. I think a lot of players, especially dummy half players, are quite instinctive when they pick up and go and that stuff. I don't think Litton is necessarily instinctive or reads the game. I think he just does the same thing. But
it's like a script he's learned, isn't it?
Yeah,
rather
but
it's feeling the right thing.
Yes, exactly. He doesn't necessarily pick and choose, which means that it doesn't always go to plan. But I think he is a very exciting player when it does go right, and so just picking up on those nuances as he gets more experience. And really, he's 23 years old. He's probably 2 years behind in development where he should be, because he didn't get enough game time at sort of 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes over the long term, but Hull Kingston Rovers starting to look to settle down for the future with that side.
Yep. Another lead signing, Sam Walters has signed a new deal that will keep him at the club until at least the end of 2023. The 20-year-old England Academy international came through the ranks at Widnes before moving to Leeds in 2019. He's made 6 appearances for the Rhinos since making his first team debut in 2020.
He's all right from what I've seen so far. Tall second rower, isn't he? Who probably, as he physically develops, might move into the middles, but we'll see on that. Got a bit of an offload on him. I think he even ended up playing half a game at centres maybe in one of these games this year. He's got some talent, so this will give him a chance to sort of move from being a young player who gets the odd game to, by the end of 2023, for him hopefully being a matchday 17 regular, and that'll decide what his Leeds career is going to be, I think.
Yeah.
Wakefield have signed fullback Ollie Ashall-Bott on an initial 2-week loan deal from Huddersfield, so obviously there's an option that might get extended. Ashall-Bott joined the Giants ahead of this season from the London Broncos and featured for Ian Watson's side in pre-season, but has yet to make a competitive appearance for the club. They've kind of picked everyone at fullback rather than giving Ashall-Bott a shot there. So Wakefield, lots of injuries in the outside backs, and Max Jowett potentially is another player who's going to be out now. We know Ryan Hampshire picked up an injury in that game at the weekend as well against Hull FC, so some reinforcements needed, and Ashall-Bott's seen by them to be the best man out there as an option.
Yeah, he's a decent player. I think he'll do all right for them.
Yeah, I think we haven't yet seen if he's going to be a Super League player. When he burst on the scene at Widnes, I think we all thought this kid's got some talent, didn't we?
Yeah, and he's never realised that.
Yeah, and it'd been difficult because Widnes got relegated. He then moved on to London when they weren't in the Super League. So he needs to take a chance at a Super League club because he had a bit of a spell, kind of as a emergency backup at Salford. He hasn't broken through at Huddersfield this year, so see if Wakefield's injury crisis is the chance he needs to prove himself.
Yeah.
Talking of young fullbacks, Sarah.
Yes, York have signed young fullback Connor Wynne on a month-loan deal from Hull. The 20-year-old has made 8 appearances for Hull since making his first team debut in 2019. He'll spend a month in the Championship with the Knights, with Hull having the option to recall him after 2 weeks. I think it's a good move for him with the reserves not being up and running. Give him a run out, give him a bit of experience. I think he did quite well yesterday for York from everything I saw.
Yeah, he went straight into the team, didn't they? And a team that performed much better than they did the week before, it looks like. So, yeah, I think that they're the key points you make. 20-year-olds won't play in the academy this year and there's no reserves. So this is the best way for Connor Wynne to get some game time at the moment. Widnes have signed forward Ellis Robson on an initial 2-week loan from Warrington, probably for similar reasons. The 22-year-old back rower has made 7 appearances for Warrington since making his first team debut in 2020. So again, a chance for him to get some game time there.
Yep.
Another line on the Championship before we move to the French squad. Swinton have confirmed that Hayward Road will remain their home ground until at least the end of the 2023 season. The Lions and Rugby Union Club Sale FC have announced that an agreement has been reached for Swinton to remain at the ground for this season and 2 more seasons beyond. The renewal of the lease will see the Lions play out of sale for a total of 8 seasons. So
that's amazing.
Stable kind of home setup for Swinton. That feels like, doesn't it?
Yeah, I had no idea it'd been that long at all.
No, I've been. I think I've told this story before on the podcast, but I think I've been to 4 or 5 fixtures at Hayward Road, and on the first 4 times I went there, the bar had moved to a different location each time. So obviously, there's been developments of the facilities there at the Rugby Union Club that Sale have been able to take advantage of. It's got a decent bar where you can sit in and see the ground from the end, and it's kind of the same colours that they play in, which makes it not feel so much like an away game. When you're there as a home fan, I would suspect. I know Swinton fans ideally would have a home within the Swinton area, a Salford postcode rather than a Sale postcode, but to me, it's always felt like a good place for them to be, and I've always enjoyed my trips there. So I'm glad that they'll be staying there, and I'm sure I'll visit again over the next couple of years.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you my Swinton story then. It's from when Swinton played at Gig Lane in Bury.
Yep. And
I think it was our promotion year, 97, and we went over. And there's no indication as to which side the home fans are sitting in and which side the away fans are sitting in. So we paid our money, went in, suddenly realised we were in the wrong stand. And there were a few Hull fans in this stand that we were in. And we see some friends of my dad's chatting to Stuart and then heading down to the bottom and climbing over the advertising hoardings. So we think, great, we're with them. So we run down and do the same. And this was before the match kicked off, and we're just walking around behind the sticks, and my dad's friend turns to him and says, we asked that steward if we could do this, and he said no. So we did it anyway. So we were allowed into the other stand.
Good stuff. Yeah, well, they've had a few different homes, haven't they? And none of them have been closer to home than where they are now in reality in the recent past. Bury's not really. Stockport certainly wasn't. So I think this is a good option.
Yeah, and they've been there 8 years. I think that's key, isn't it, to any, especially lower league club, to build up the community around where they are.
Yeah, and it gives them. I always think that they need to look at the positives in these situations, clubs like Swinton, because they can't afford to get their own ground. The council won't pay for them to build a ground where they want to be. They'll never have Station Road back, but this gives them a chance to kind of get two fan bases. One, the hardcore Swinton fan base, which is actually a really good fan base, and unlike some kind of clubs that have languished a bit, they're not all bitter knobheads. The Swinton fans are a really good bunch, and I've like I said, I've enjoyed my trips and my conversations with Swinton people, but it gives them a chance to get some fans that maybe don't really mind what code of rugby they're watching, as long as and it's in their local area, and it's if they're from that sort of West Manchester kind of area, then there's a chance to get those people to come and watch the games as well as the hardcore Swinton people that'll still pass it down through their family. You see, grandparents with grandchildren and all that sort of stuff at all these grounds, all these great, lower league teams. So I think when you've set up roots somewhere, you kind of, unless they get that perfect option, which is, a stadium that's back in Swinton, or at least in a Salford postcode sort of thing, then this is a really good option for them, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Are we moving on to France now?
Yeah, so it's your turn.
France, yeah, thanks for arranging that.
Yeah.
France coach Laurent Fresnier has named a 34-man training squad as they ramp up preparations for the 2021 World Cup. The squad will get together in Bordeaux on May the 2nd and 3rd for a first gathering since Fresnier replaced Aurélien Cologny in charge of the national team. Although 21 players come from Catalans and Toulouse, there are 10 different clubs represented in total, including 4 elite championship French clubs, 2 of the Super League clubs and 2 other championship clubs. So the squad is Lucas Albert, Vincent Albert, Bastien Escamilla, Georgi Gambara, and they're all Carcassonne, Bastien Arda, Elias Beral, Remy Casti, Mathieu Juzem, Marc Kiriala, Anthony Marion, Eloi Pelissier, Maxime Pouet, Justin Sangier, all from Toulouse, Lambert Belmar, Justin Bousquet, Alrix de Costa, Jordan Desaria, Ben Garcia, Michael Goudemont, Benjamin Julien, Mathieu Laguerre, Corentin Lacam, Arthur Morgue, Paul Seguia, and Fouad Yaha, all from Catalans. Morgan Escarre from Salford, Theo Farge from St Helens, Romain Franco, Hugo Perez, Cesar Rouge, all Centre Steve, Tony Gigot from Avignon, Gavin Marie from Villeneuve, Romain Navarrete from London Broncos, and Gadwin Springer from Halifax.
Some expertly pronounced names there. What do you make of that squad? Do you think it's, first of all, do you think it's good that there's people from the French Elite Championship League that are at least going to be training with these full and semi-professional players in this training squad?
I think it's really positive. I think it's really exciting to see the development of the French game a lot more, and the fact that they are in a position to be playing, to be in the national squad at least. And
Toulouse and Catalan have both started relatively well in their respective competitions as well. So you'd think it's a squad that are getting together that, by and large, are going to be feeling positive as well.
Yeah.
Which is another good thing for Fresnier in his first meet-up with his team.
Yeah, and I mean, from the Toulouse players, there's a fair few of them that he knows from Catalan days, aren't there?
Yeah, well, even if you look elsewhere as well.
Yeah.
Gigot, Springer,